Here in Oakland and Berkeley, the voters have decided that 16 and 17-year-olds should be able to vote.
The students, they were like, not only can we vote, can we organize, we can run.
They actually have way more insight into the issues that face schools than most adults.
East Oakland, like many communities of color, faces a complicated history, one that is shaped by the struggles of America to live up to its own ideals. Decades of disinvestment in public services, poor educational systems, limited access to capital, and uneven development of commercial spaces all contribute barriers to our ability to thrive and strive. But that's not the whole story. East Oakland is a place of brilliance, resilience, and leadership, where men, women, elders, and youth come together to create solutions to overcome challenges.
Everybody.
This is 206, take one, marker, soft sticks.
Baba Greg Hodge, thank you for joining us here at Real Talk About the Town. Greg Hodge is the Executive Director of the Brotherhood of Elders Network, among many other roles you play in the community. I want to thank you all. I had this opportunity personally for helping guide me on my path, even to get where I'm sitting today. And I know you've done that for many other brothers and sisters in the community. So thank you for joining us.
Yeah, my pleasure. It's good to be here. Good to talk about Oakland. It's good to talk about Oakland in a real way. And I'm, I get to say this to you. I'm proud of you. Like you've been doing it. You've been doing it.
I've been doing it
for a minute. And you and I have been friends for a long time. So, it's gonna be a great conversation.
Yes, and I get to learn more about Rise East and 40 by 40. So I'm from East Oakland. I definitely have roots there. Family still there, and I know a little bit about the history of East Oakland. And I definitely know, growing up in East Oakland, some of the conditions that I came up in. But talk to us a little bit about East Oakland, the conditions that led to the initiation of Rise East and 40 by 40, and what were some of the historical factors that even put us in that position where Rise East was needed?
Yeah, well, as you know, in Oakland, the history of Oakland is really interesting in the sense that it has become, in many ways, indicative of other cities around the country, whether it's DC, Chicago, Detroit, other places that have had a significant African-American population, and the disinvestment in communities that has happened over the last 50, 60 years at least. So the disinvestment, the lack of infrastructure investment, the lack of social investment in schools and educational opportunities, that really affected the growth and development of East Oakland. A lot of the history of that era really has created the circumstances that led to the emergence of the 40 by 40 and Rise East.
And so talk to us a little bit about what Rise East is. How is it positioning itself to address some of these issues that you're talking about? And how does the 40 by 40 project fit into that?
Okay, so Rise East is a vision, it's a plan, and it's a collaborative. 10 years ago, before there was any foundation resources on the table, there were a group of us that got organized and convened by Roots Community Health. Dr. Noha Ablada, who is a magnificent leader in our community, basically called us and said, we want to focus on this 40 by 40 square block area in deep East Oakland. That geography goes from Seminary over to the San Leandro border, from MacArthur down to the Bay. And the reason that 40 by 40 area was of concern was that 100,000 people live in that community, 30,000 of those folks are African American. African Americans are still really suffering from that same lack of investment, the social determinants of health that we talk about in public health. All of those things were playing out in deep East Oakland. So almost all of the indicators of well-being and health were going in the wrong direction for Black folks who were living in that 40 by 40 neighborhood. We want to be able to create a network of organizations that keep integrated voter education at the forefront, because ultimately We feel like the disinvestment that happened during the period of when redlining was really in full effect has to be undone. And the only way you're going to undo it is through policy. It was created through policy decisions. It has to be undone through policy decisions. We think that the resources that we've gotten from private philanthropy ought to be something that helps prime the pump for public resources from the county, from the city. If the city were in a better financial position, the school district and other public entities, the Joint Powers Authority that's part of Oakland Thrives, all of that hopefully will add up to a sustained infrastructure, a sustained backbone support, set of backbone support organizations that would actually help Rise East be successful. When we got approached by Oakland Thrives, and Oakland Thrives is a multi-jurisdictional collaborative made up of the school district, the city of Oakland, the county, Kaiser Permanente, some other players. We actually were able to take advantage of a matching grant challenge that came from a national funder. Blue Meridian Partners said that they would invest $50 million in the neighborhood if we being the 4 anchor organizations, could find a match. The anchor organizations are the Brotherhood of Elders Network, Roots Community Health, East Oakland Youth Development Center, and Black Culture Zone CDC, as well as the collaborative that the CDC is managing. On the education front, we're partnering with East Oakland Youth Development Center to look at how do all the players that are working in East Oakland around improving education can work together. We're, as the Brotherhood of Elders Network, we're focused on Black Teacher Pipeline. We're doing some work at the state level in terms of advocacy work, in terms of that piece. Selena Wilson, who's the brilliant alumni and executive director of East Oakland Youth Development Center, along with our staff, Kevin Hill and others, are working on how to create a collaborative across all of the folks who are doing education work. We're working as the Brotherhood of Elders Network, we're stewarding or leading the work around community engagement. This notion of how do we get people to participate in the governance of the neighborhood, starting with engaging people around voting, and not necessarily telling people who to vote for, but that we want people to engage in the process. Traditionally in District 6 and 7, voter turnout has been pretty low. Maybe, I don't know if it was like this when this brother named Carter Gilmore, who I think you know.
Relatively well.
Yeah, relatively well. When Carter Gilmore was in office, I feel like we are still working to make sure that people know who the candidates are, which is really the point of Real Talk About the Town.
So you're talking about investing in the community. I heard you say this is a multi-generational effort, which means the leaders who will be moving this into thriving and striving may be in kindergarten right now.
Yeah.
Right? So what are some of the structures either in place, or do you see in the future that is not only meeting those acute needs of the community now, while also investing in the future in terms of the economic and land use? What is being put in place to develop the human capital to bring those leaders to bear and positioning them to take the mantle?
Yeah, well, there's a couple things that we can say. One is that I think one of the other guests that you may have spoken to, and if you haven't already, is from Oakland Kids First. And so the notion of young people involved with the youth vote for school board members, those voters will be 18 years old 2 years from now. So that means that they'll be able to vote for city council, for mayor, up ticket to presidential, senate, and other races.
So you're with the organization CalMatters. I understand it's based in Sacramento.
Yes.
And you are the director of partnerships, is that correct?
That's correct. So I am with a publication called CalMatters. We're a nonprofit, nonpartisan publication that focuses on politics and policy all across the state.
So Dan, here in Oakland and Berkeley, the voters have decided that 16 and 17-year-olds should be able to vote. And so they've actually had the opportunity to participate in the last couple of elections.
Elected officials need to be reaching young people. The way we do news is actually changing, and we're seeing that it's more important than ever that stories land, they actually get to people, and we can't do that without community engagement. And to do that, we need to be working with local partners all across the state who have that expertise. CalMatters focuses on the state level. So this year, our big initiative is the voter guide. Each election, we produce a very detailed voter guide. This year is going to be every governor's candidate, and what actually separates them from each other. For the general election, we're going to have explainers on all the propositions. And each proposition, we produce a 1-minute video, props in a minute. We have quizzes, a whole online guide that will give you everything you need to know for the statewide election.
Thank you for joining us, Lucas. I'm excited to be here with you. Lucas Brekke-Miesner, Oakland native, executive director at Kids First, and one of the local advocates really pushing the youth vote here in Oakland. And so what we really want to talk to you about today was kind of how that came about and really providing information to the community to make sure young people understand their opportunity, their responsibility, and they can get active. And so talk to us a little bit, Lucas, about Kids First, about yourself, your trajectory, and a little bit about the Youth Voting Initiative.
Oakland Kids First as an organization was actually born out of a community coalition in '96. And so there was a community push that was organized by a lot of, elders in the community now, including Millie Cleveland and David Kakashiba, and my father, Paul Brekke-Miesner. And so Oakland Kids First was then born as a nonprofit community organization. We work in Oakland public high schools and basically developing youth leaders, youth organizers, because we really look at it like we know that systemic change is only going to happen when we really do widespread organizing, but also young folks need to be able to navigate conditions as they exist currently as well, because organizing has a long trajectory, right? And we want to make sure that that organizing doesn't ever feel transactional, right? The young folks are supported through current conditions as well. And there's a lot of adultism and people think, oh, they don't know, and why should we give them power? They actually have way more insight into the issues that face schools than most adults because they're in them and they've been in them hella years. And so we actually think that there's a real opportunity for youth to be among the most informed voter base that is. So youth voting is something that I feel like had been kind of bandied about even when I was a young person growing up in Oakland. It was always that sense for those of us that were involved in sort of leadership opportunities that there was a certain ceiling on our involvement. Learning about masculinity and feminism and social movements and oppression and really kind of developing our lens and our critiques, but there weren't necessarily a lot of avenues for us to actually flex power, even though young people are constantly being talked about in politics. This generation of young folks started really looking at the fact that they felt tokenized. They said, we come to school board meetings, we come to city council meetings, we do public comment, we do these delegation visits with electeds. Even when they were running campaigns and getting commitments on certain votes, when electeds would, back out, they had no recourse. It's very evident that we want to sort of prop up young people and sort of pat them on the back, but we don't actually want to give them any power. So that was sort of this moment where they were like, you know what, this happens every year, this happens every time. And if we are constantly being sort of sidelined, then we got to change the rules to the game. And so that's when they started looking into what would it look like for us to actually have real representation.
How can we build a non-racist society in this country?
This is going to be a rough afternoon. Younger people, very young people, they don't allow me to become stagnant. And I learn a great deal from them. You're talking about black speech, Negro speech. It's a technique of survival, which is that at one point in our history, I had to warn him about something while you were listening. And he had to understand it, and you not understand it. Because every black man in this country speaks 2 languages, and has to, because we were surrounded by a hostile population. When I myself was in Africa, I didn't feel strange at all. It was something that happened inside me, out of the interaction. First of all, I'm afraid it's going to get worse before it gets better.
But Republicans have to win this one. We'll never lose a race. For 50 years, we won't lose a race.
It's obviously the product of this society. This society is coming apart at the seams.
The Save America Act is not about protecting our elections. It's about disguising voter suppression techniques aimed at disenfranchising black voters as election security.
You're dealing with a child. You're dealing with a miracle.
The jam is hot and red.
Very good, baby.
The child is always discovering something. you know. And every discovery changes him. And some of the discoveries are dangerous, some of the discoveries are beautiful, you know. At a moment in his life, he's going to learn more from his peers than he can learn from you. You've got to prepare the child for a world that is coming much, much larger than the world in which he was born.
I'm going to turn it over to my colleague Randy Seriguchi so we can hear straight from the source.
How you doing?
Good to see you, brother.
Nice to see you.
Man.
Thanks for coming by.
Oh yeah, man. You know, we had a great time last time talking to the kids about voting. So I'm looking forward to getting back into it.
Sounds good, sounds good.
Yeah.
We're right in the library.
All right. Peace to the people. I'm Randy with the Brotherhood of Elders Network, and we're here with Miracle, Jasper, Maya, Milan, Jarrell. All right, Maya, we're gonna go through some rapid fire questions about Alameda County voting. At least how many high school students can vote in Alameda County in 2026? Is it A, 5,436, B, 6,780, or C, 8,199?
Well, there are seniors.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm gonna go with C.
You know what C?
Mm-hmm.
I want to go with B. I'm gonna go with B.
I think C.
C.
Gut check?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say yeah.
Final answer.
Final answer.
Maya, you got it. 8,199. Let's go. Let me dap you real quick. Bow.
The data has really borne out that, you know, the younger you are a first-time voter, the more likely you are to be a lifelong voter. So we already feel like that's clear. If we can get a bunch of 16 and 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds registered and voting, that's gonna set them up on that trajectory. But that in and of itself is not transformative. And so we are really fascinated by what it looks like for young folks to put together their own agendas, their own platforms, right? About here's the core issues that we care about. Oh, you want our vote? Okay, well, we have some demands, right? And that becomes an avenue to then do organizing, you know, throughout the years, because that can't just, you know, crop up in the beginning. So Oakland has had a legacy of youth organizing. We know a lot of adults are jaded because, well, I voted for a hell of elections and nothing has changed. Things have gotten worse, right? And so there's also this sense that young people are going to be on that same trajectory if we are not actually transforming how politics lives. But ultimately, I feel like anytime we look at any politician to deliver us for anything, you're gonna be waiting forever, because it has to be all of us being organized and activated year round and applying that pressure and pushing that agenda that is ultimately what's gonna turn it around. And so again, voting, super amazing tool. It's not the only tool in the tool belt. And you know, a lot of our young folks are also undocumented, right? So how are we giving examples to them of like how you can be engaged, how you can organize, how you can be involved in community beyond voting, because voting is not available to everyone, you know? And so that's the other reality.
There are approximately 1.6 million people in Alameda County. How many are registered voters? I'll give you some multiple choice questions.
Okay.
A, 738,224. B, 959,098. Or C, 1,190,543.
I would say the 900,000 answer.
That answer B?
Yes.
It's your final answer.
Absolutely.
Good answer, Jarrell. It is 959,098.
And now, a coffee break presented by no one.
What percentage of registered voters in Alameda County voted in the last midterm election? That was in 2022. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Is it A, 48%, B, 53%, or C, 61%?
A.
A?
I think so.
That was quick. Is that a final answer?
Yeah. I got it wrong?
You were so close. It was B, 53%.
I just know a lot of people don't know about midterms.
That's right. So you went with the lower number?
Yeah.
Okay, right on.
At one of my events in Santa Cruz, this was at Cabrillo College, people there were really mad about a school board member or some school district supervisor that there was corruption and abuse and a lot of stuff going on. And the college students were really mad about this person. They were like, why is no one running against him, right? What can we do? And they talked about protesting. They talked about all these different things, signing petitions. But then we were like, why don't we look at the eligibility requirements to run? And we look at it, you need to be 18 and you need to live here, right? And if you're a college student at Cabrillo College, you're 18 and you live there. And this wave of realization washed over the students. They were like, not only can we vote, can we organize, we can run, right? That this is how we can participate. And by the end of that event, a student is coming up to me saying like, I think I might do it. So.
Powerful.
Yeah.
In California, 16 and 17-year-olds can pre-register to vote anywhere in the state, so that when they turn 18, they're already in the system. We're able to use that system to activate those who had pre-registered for any school board election for which they qualify. Because it's not just about voting, and we were always clear about, the young folks were like, look, we're not like democracy organizers, we are trying to gain power, and this is a means to an end. And ultimately what they want to see is a transformation of material conditions in their communities. So it's like, we want to be able to vote so that we can actually back our priorities and actually transform our schools. So just having the right to vote is not enough. We need to make sure that we are eliminating the barriers to voting.
You're going to be voting for the first time this November?
I have voted last year, actually.
Oh, you voted last year? Okay. Yes. Can you give us a breakdown of that experience? What was it like as a youth voter?
I remember we were in this room, actually, and I just filled out a form. It was pretty easy, and I appreciated that part. And I felt awesome, like, having a say in, my community and what's happening around me.
It was, I liked being able to vote for a school board because it does have an impact on my life. So I like to have some sort of, or feel like I have some sort of control over what's happening.
It was good. I mean, I was born on Halloween, so I had like a small little window of opportunity to vote. So like as soon as I turned 18, my mom gave me a ballot.
When I think about my 5-year-old granddaughter, that's everything. That's everything. 'Cause I want my granddaughter to have the kind of life where she's not asking about the same old problems that we've had. That she's not asking about, well, granddad, she calls me Babu. So Babu, why are we treating each other so poorly out here? Or why is it that some people don't want to tell our history? Or why is it that, and I want her to ask some new questions. I don't want her asking them same old questions that we've been asking ourselves for like the last 300 years.
How do you imagine voting for the first time? You're going to vote this November?
Yes.
Tell us, how do you imagine voting for the first time? What is that experience going to be?
So I think walking in would definitely be a little bit pressure, just to give you a little bit of pressure. But I think in the end, voting, you'd feel a little bit relieved because you feel like you did your part.
You gonna do your part?
I'm gonna do my part.
Okay.
Broken promise of a recollected dream. I could never branch out. I was always spaced out, feeling like I'm losing part of me. I'll just find my way out, never take a handout. Keep all these things to myself. Fall when I'm running out, heard about it word of mouth, and I can't believe. Is it meant to be? I can't see. Wasn't what it seemed. No, I can't believe. Is it meant to be? I can't. speak louder than words. Talk is cheap, I'm broke too. Foundation and loose screws when I'm lying to myself. I avoid the real truth, nothing left to lose. My job doesn't even care. They could cut my ass loose, but I gotta make a few, and I can't believe, is it meant to be? But I can't see, wasn't what it seemed. No, I can't believe, is it meant to be? I can't believe, I can't believe what I see. Is it meant to be?
Town Sounds with Bianca B.B. Brown. In our season finale of Real Talk About the Town, we'll be talking to candidates for Alameda County District Attorney, as well as the Alameda County Public Defender. We'll also speak with the City of Oakland's Chief of Violence Prevention, and we'll talk to men who have had firsthand experience in the justice system. Finally, we'll have an interesting conversation with a world-recognized expert in detention diversion. We want to know, what is justice and how is it best served? That's what we'll be asking. Do you want to know? Stay tuned to find out. Remember to share, like, and subscribe. And if you haven't already, make sure you register to vote. Check out the link below.
Now, where y'all going to be airing that, on Channel 7 or something?